Hi all, how are you doing? So the topic that I've chosen for today is fractions. So let's start with the basic understanding of fractions. What is a fraction? A fraction is a part of a whole, or we can say it's a part of total. Now let me help you visualize fractions with our daily lives. Now when we look at the watch, we say it's 2:30, or we say it's 4:45. Or let's take another example. When we prepare any recipes, or when we hear any recipe on TV or YouTube, it says add half a cup of water, add 3-4 tablespoons of sugar. So these are nothing but fractions. Now how are fractions written? A fraction is always written like it's half a cup of water, right? Like for example, half. So on the top there's always a numerator. So the top number is known as numerator and the bottom number is known as denominator. So fraction is represented with the help of numerator and denominator, and it's a part of whole. Now let's understand how do we write fractions, how do we represent fractions. For that I'm taking a small example wherein I'm just drawing a flower with some petals. Okay, and let's say I'm coloring few petals. So if I ask you what is the fraction of colored petals, now like I said, fraction is a part of whole. Now how many parts are colored? Because I'm calculating for colored petals. How many colored petals are there? 1, 2. So 2 colored petals. And what is the total number of petals? So 2 colored and 2 non-colored. So total are 4 petals. So this is the fraction of colored petals. Let's take another example. Let's take an example of pizza. So let's see, I've eaten this much of pizza. So what is the fraction of pizza eaten? So how much have I eaten? How many slices have I eaten? I've eaten 3 slices. And what are the total number of slices? The total number of slices are 4. So I've eaten 3/4 of the pizza. I hope this gives you a better clarity of fractions. Now let's walk you through the types of fractions. Now first we have a proper fraction. Now what are proper fractions? Let me give you for example. Like for example, the marks you obtain. Let's say you had a test in maths and you obtained 9 out of 10 marks. And let's say in English examination, out of 100 you received 85 marks. So these example here are proper fractions, where if you see, the numerator is less than the denominator. So in proper fractions, the numerator is less than the denominator. Now the other type is improper fractions. It's the opposite of proper fractions, wherein the denominator will be lesser. Let's say it's 8 upon 5. And let me take another example, 2 upon 1, 5 upon 4. So these are all improper fractions, where the numerator is greater than denominator. Right? Now let's move on to the another category, which is like fractions. Like means something same, right? So let's take two fractions. Let's say 1/2, 3/2. So these fractions are said to be in like fractions because if you notice the denominator of these, the denominators are same. So the fractions which has the same denominator are said to be like fractions. Now let's understand the other category of this, which are unlike fractions. It's the opposite of like fractions. And now for example, I have 2 by 6, 3 by 8. So if you notice here, the denominators are different. So the fractions whose denominators are different are known as unlike fractions. And then we have the last category of fractions, which are unit fractions. For example, 1 by 2, 1 by 8, 1 by 6. So if you notice here, in the unit fractions, the numerators is always equals to 1. So we have learned 5 different categories. We have learned proper fractions where numerator is less than denominator. Then we have learned the improper fractions where the numerator is greater than denominator. Like fractions where denominators are same. Unlike fraction where denominators are different. And the unit fractions where the numerators is always equals to 1. Then moving further, I want you to introduce you to a topic which is equivalent fractions. Now what are equivalent fractions? Let's understand. Okay, equi means equal, valent we can say it's value. So fractions which has equal values is known as equivalent fraction. So let's take an example of pizzas. Now let's say I have 2 pizzas. The first pizza has 4 slices. And this pizza, let's say it has 6 slices. Now this is, let's say, a cheese pizza. And this is an onion pizza. So let's assume I have eaten this much of cheese pizza. And I have eaten this much of onion pizza. So if I notice, what is the fraction of cheese pizza eaten? I've eaten 2 slices out of 4 slices. Here in the onion pizza, I've eaten what is the fraction of the slices eaten? 3. And what is the total? There are total of 6 slices. So I've eaten 3 upon 6 slices. Now if you notice here, in both the pizzas, I've actually eaten half of the pizzas. Isn't it? The value is same. Half pizzas I've eaten from both. So can I say here that these are equal? 2 by 4 is equals to 3 by 6, which is always equal, which is also equals to 1 by 2. So these fractions now are said to be equivalent fractions because they have equal value, which represents half. I hope this gives you clarity about equivalent fractions. Now let's understand how to make equivalent fractions. Now suppose I have a fraction 4 by 3 and I have to make an equivalent fraction of this. So what do? I multiply the numerator and the denominator by, let's say, 2. So what do I have? 4 times 2 divided by 3 times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. So I can say now 4 by 3 is also equals to 8 by 6. Now these fractions are said to be an equivalent fractions. So it's not, I've just multiplied here by 2 because I think it was easy. You can multiply by 3, 4, 5, 6 and create multiple equivalent fractions. Let's understand that with the help of an example. So let's say I have a fraction 2 upon 3 and I want to create okay, just a minute, I'll put a question in a good form. Build 3 equivalent fractions of 2 by 3. So the question says I have to build 3 equal fractions of 2 by 3. So I will write, so first what I'll do, I'll multiply by 2. So 2 times 2 and then 3 times 2 in the denominator. 4 upon 6. Okay, this is one equivalent. Now I have to create another one. So let's say I multiply by 3. So 2 by 3, 2 times 3, 3 times 3. 6 by 9 is another. I have to create one more. So I can do with 4 now, which is 2 times 4 and 3 times 4. 8 upon 12. So now I can say that 2 by 3 is equals to 4 by 6 is equals to 6 by 9 is equals to 8 by 12. These all are equivalent. I hope it's clear how to create an equivalent fractions. Thank you so much.